Hello my beloved brothers and sisters in Christ. On April 8, 2024, prepare for an extraordinary celestial event. We are about to witness a solar eclipse, but not just any solar eclipse. This will be an extremely rare, total solar eclipse with intriguing connections to predictions of the 2024 elections impacting the United States and Israel. Some even speculate that this could signal the end times. In today's video, I will explain the true meaning behind this solar eclipse and reveal its implications. And trust me, you won't want to miss this video's shocking conclusion. In several parts of the Bible, we find connections between the end time, celestial events, and phenomena. Many verses mention the sun, moon, stars, and even eclipses in connection with prophecies about the last days. For example, in Luke 21:25, Jesus speaks of signs in the sun, moon, and stars when discussing the weather of the last days. As a result, when people observe unusual or rare astronomical events, they often begin to ponder whether the last days are approaching. Truly understanding the meaning behind a sign like a solar or lunar eclipse is crucial for reflecting on history, exploring biblical references to similar events, observing ongoing global events, and carefully analyzing circumstances. By combining these elements, we can discern whether there is a genuine warning or whether it is part of a larger biblical development. Prophecies, as wisely stated in Ecclesiastes 1:9, assert that what has been will be again, what has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. This simply means that history tends to repeat itself. God's character remains constant, unchanged from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This means that God continues to communicate as He always has and to address sin and the nations as He has throughout history and the Bible. Recurring patterns emerge, especially regarding a nation's idolatry and sin, which God consistently confronts. Reflecting on Revelation 6, we find the symbolism of the four horsemen representing God's judgment on the nations. First comes a figure representing conquest or leadership, leading to division in the world. Next comes turbulence, war, causing strife and disturbing the peace. Subsequently, hunger continues to bring economic problems, difficulties in agriculture and struggles. Finally, death arrives, spreading plague and disease. As these events unfold on a global scale, they also echo patterns seen throughout history and in the Bible. These signs often arise in response to a nation's sins and idolatry, illustrating the cyclical nature of divine intervention over time. Examples such as Nebuchadnezzar's designation as Babylonian conqueror to bring judgment not only on Israel, but also on neighboring nations, show how God acts throughout history. Jeremiah, the prophet, mentioned a severe plague and famine that ravaged the land for years, weakening the nations in preparation for Babylon to advance. Looking at recent events, we have witnessed all four signs: plague, famine, economic hardship, widespread civil unrest, and the specter of war with Russia. These events serve as potent reminders of the prevalent sin and idolatry in the nations and signal God's judgment on the earth. While this doesn't necessarily mean these are the last days, the signs are undeniable and suggest that significant changes are approaching. If these are indeed signs of judgment, there must be reasons behind them. There must have been warnings or indications preceding these judgments, for God never acts without first revealing His intentions to His prophets. Now let's delve deeper into the importance of the sun and moon in prophetic signs. Did you know that in biblical prophecy, the moon consistently represents Israel while the sun symbolizes the Gentile nations? Well, you're going to want to pay close attention because things are about to get a lot more interesting. The book of Genesis reveals that the sun, moon, and stars were not created until the fourth day. Before that, light already existed on earth, along with vegetation like trees and flowers, which were created on the third day. It is worth noting that trees and plants depend on sunlight and rain, but the sun itself was not brought into existence until the fourth day. This shows us the critical role of the sun and moon in sustaining Earth's climate and ecosystems. Without them, there would be no ocean currents, therefore no climate, and consequently no rain in those ancient times when rain was not a common occurrence until the days of Noah's flood. These celestial signs have special significance in the Bible, especially regarding last-day prophecies. Joel 2 verses 30-31 tells of wonders in the heavens and the earth, including the darkening of the sun and the turning of the moon to blood, signaling the coming of the great and terrible day of the Lord. This image symbolizes impending turmoil, with blood representing war and judgment, while smoke and fire signify volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. These celestial events are prophetic indicators, as Jesus predicted earthquakes, volcanoes, wars, and other disturbances as precursors to significant events. In 2017, two important and unusual events occurred in America. First, on August 21 of 2017, there was a remarkable event known as the Great American Solar Eclipse, visible across the country from the west coast to the east coast. However, it is essential to know that an eclipse alone does not have much significance unless accompanied by other events that align with the Bible and Israelite contexts. The following month, on September 23 of 2017, another exceptionally rare event occurred involving the alignment of stars and constellations known as the sign of Revelation 12. On this date, the constellations of Virgo and Leo, along with Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, the Sun and the Moon, aligned in a unique way, similar to the depiction of Revelation 12 in the Bible. Did you know that this alignment has only occurred twice in history? Well, this is where things get even more shocking. Keep an eye on these alignments as they will be significant again in relation to the eclipse. Revelation 12 warns us of the conflict between the Antichrist, known as the Beast, and the Holy Sa, as well as the rebirth of Israel in Jerusalem as a nation. These two signs together served as a stern warning to the United States, especially toward Israel, about the division of the land. In August 2017 to January 28, 2020, President Donald Trump proposed an agreement called Peace for Prosperity, advocating a two-state solution, granting 70% of Israel's land, including the eastern half of Jerusalem, for the Palestinians. 3 months later, a pandemic emerged, causing widespread devastation across the world. This was followed by significant economic struggles, civil strife, unrest with Russia, and the loss of leadership to both Netanyahu and Trump in 2017. Surprisingly, instead of witnessing the signs of the four horsemen as we expected, we saw their signs occurring in reverse order. Additionally, as a consequence of these events, we observed the emergence of alliances such as Gog and Magog, mainly through OPEC oil nations aligning themselves with BRICS alliances, including China. These alliances are effectively challenging the US dollar's dominance in trade, leading to significant inflation and the imminent collapse of the US banking system. Amazingly, all of these events were prophesied in the Bible about Israel in the end times moving forward to April 8, 2024. 7 years after the initial eclipse in August 2017, another eclipse is predicted to happen. This time, not only will it be visible across the entire United States, but its path of totality will form a significant X-shape across the country. However, unlike the 2017 eclipse and the sign of Revelation 12, this eclipse will only cover the eastern half of the nation and will occur 7 months before the 2024 presidential election. Interestingly, just like the sign of Revelation 12, the constellation Leo, symbolizing Judah and Jerusalem, will align with the solar eclipse on April 8, 2024. This constellation is associated with the Lion of Judah, representing Jesus. So what does all this mean in biblical prophecy? The number 7 often symbolizes completion, indicating the end of a cycle. In this context, it refers to the conclusion of Israel's 70 weeks, a judgment represented by 7-year cycles.